Navy SEALs laughed at her crutches, until a 3-star general stood up and silenced the room. The hangar buzzed with laughter and echoing voices, the kind only hardened SEALs could make. Oil fumes hung heavy in the air as the team wrapped up drills, tossing towels and joking about the day's bruises. Then, the side door creaked open. A woman stepped in, her uniform crisp, her bearing unmistakably military, but her crutches clicked against the concrete floor. The noise dimmed, then surged back with a cruel edge. "Guess physical therapy's next door," one of the younger SEALs muttered. Another smirked. "Wrong briefing, ma'am, we're the walking kind." She didn't flinch. Her gaze scanned the room like she was assessing cover points and lines of fire. The limp in her right leg was visible, deliberate, measured. She adjusted one crutch, kept moving toward the front. Chief Randall, the platoon lead, crossed his arms. "Ma'am, this is a restricted section. Authorized personnel only." "I'm aware," she said simply, her voice steady, soft but edged with command. "Continue your debrief." Randall frowned. She stopped beside a table, placed one crutch aside, and reached for the mission report folder. "Lieutenant Commander Eve Rains, assigned to Tactical Evaluation Division." The room went silent, briefly. Then came the low chuckles again. Someone whispered, "Eval Division. That's desk work." Eve ignored it. "You've been running urban breach simulations at 40% casualty rate. Unacceptable." Randall took a step forward, bristling. "With respect, ma'am, these are elite men. We're not in the habit of taking notes from." She finished for him. "From someone with crutches." His jaw locked. The silence turned uncomfortable. Without another word, she shifted her stance, balancing without aid, and lifted her left hand in a precise motion. Her fingers drew an invisible pattern in the air, a breaching signal. Half the men unconsciously straightened. Then she dropped the folder, flipped one of the crutches, and in a blur of motion, disassembled it. Beneath the aluminum casing, a compact training rifle snapped into place. Gasps broke the silence. Before anyone could react, she fired 2 dry rounds toward the target board at the far end of the hangar. Both hit dead center. Eve reassembled the crutch with mechanical calm. "Mobility doesn't equal weakness, Chief. Adaptability does." The SEALs exchanged looks. The smirks were gone. Then, a heavy set of footsteps echoed behind them. The double doors opened again. A tall man in a decorated uniform entered, the 3 silver stars on his collar catching the overhead light. "General Harlan." He paused at the sight of Eve, then gave a slow, deliberate salute. Every SEAL in the room froze. The general's voice carried through the silence like thunder. "Gentlemen, when Lieutenant Commander Rains speaks, you listen. She's the reason half your predecessors are alive." The hangar went still, not from command, but respect. The kind that couldn't be ordered. Scene 2, the story behind the salute, approximately equals 500 words. For a long, breathless moment, the hangar stayed frozen. Only the soft hum of ceiling fans and the rhythmic tap of Eve's crutches broke the silence. The SEALs, moments ago smug and amused, now stood straight as iron. None dared speak. General Harlan moved toward her, his expression carved in something between pride and memory. "It's been a long time, Commander," he said quietly. "Didn't think I'd see you on 2 feet again." Eve gave a faint smile. "Neither did I, sir. But I owed the program one more lesson." The general turned to the SEAL platoon. "You boys want to know why she carries those crutches?" His tone wasn't loud, but it carried the weight of a command no one ignored. 2 years ago, this woman led Operation Night Vale in Kuna Province. 36 operators trapped in a canyon, pinned by RPG fire from both ridgelines. A murmur rippled through the ranks. Everyone knew that mission, or thought they did. Classified, brutal, the kind no one talked about without lowering their voice. She was the one who called in the airstrike that saved them, Harlan continued. But she didn't call it from safety. She stayed behind, to drag out a wounded team leader when the evac bird took fire. The general's jaw tightened. A mortar hit the vehicle she was shielding. Both legs shattered. She refused morphine until every man was aboard. When they finally pulled her out, she had already stopped breathing, twice. The SEALs stood motionless. Some of the toughest men in the Navy suddenly looked small. Chief Randall swallowed hard. "Sir, why wasn't this?" "Because she asked it not to be," Harlan cut in. "She didn't want medals. She wanted her men to go home believing they'd survived because of training, not luck. She said, if they fight harder believing in themselves, that's the only award I need." Eve lowered her eyes. "That's still true, sir." The general nodded slowly. She's the reason I approved this evaluation tour. You boys think you've seen combat. You've trained in storm and fire, but she's bled for it. He stepped aside, gesturing to her. Lieutenant Commander Rains isn't here to be judged. She's here to make sure you earn the title seal. The air in the hangar felt different now, heavier, reverent. Eve met Randall's gaze. The defiance in his eyes was gone, replaced with something deeper. Respect. Regret. She took a small breath, leaned on her crutches, and said softly, "Now, shall we begin your tactical review?" Not a single man laughed. Not a single one dared look away. And as she hobbled to the front of the hangar, the sound of her crutches no longer carried weakness. It echoed like gunfire, sharp, certain, and commanding. The SEALs didn't see a wounded officer anymore. They saw the woman who had once held a canyon alone.